Ladies, let me break something down for you, because I know you've been told all your life that beauty is the key. The way you look, the way you dress, the way you wear your hair, the way you beat your face with makeup. That's what's supposed to matter the most. And yes, don't get me wrong, men notice looks. But let me tell you this truth: before your looks, before your shape, before your hair, before any of that, there's something a man notices that's even more powerful. And if you don't understand this, you're going to think everything is about being pretty when really it's about how you show up. See, men can be simple, but men ain't blind. A woman's presence speaks before her lips ever do. Confidence. Let me stop right there. That's what separates one woman from another. You could be in a room with 10 women and maybe 3 of them are absolutely gorgeous. But the woman who carries herself like she knows she belongs in that room, like she don't need to beg for validation, like she ain't waiting on anybody to tell her she's beautiful, that's the woman every man's eye will drift to. Because confidence is louder than looks. You ever seen a woman who may not even be the prettiest in society's eyes, but she walks in like she owns the ground under her feet? She looks people in the eye. She speaks with certainty. She laughs without worrying about who's watching her. She don't shrink herself to fit in. Men see that. That energy is irresistible. And that's because a man can sense deep down that if a woman knows her worth, she won't settle for less. Let me tell you something personal. I've been around some of the most beautiful women in the world, but beauty alone ain't never been enough to hold my attention. And I can promise you that's true for most men, because the truth is beauty is common. There are millions of beautiful women, but what's rare is a woman who knows who she is, who values herself, who don't need you to define her. That's the difference. That's why a man notices confidence before he even notices your hair, your dress, or your figure. Now, ladies, here's where some of you get caught up. You think if you're not the best looking in the room, you don't stand a chance. That's not true. You don't have to compete with another woman's looks, because no man is sitting there comparing you to every other woman. What he's looking at is the vibe you carry. How do you hold yourself? Do you look defeated, insecure, like you're waiting for someone to approve of you? Or do you show up like a woman who knows she's valuable, even if nobody says a word? That's what's being noticed. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is not being loud or flashy. It's not about drawing attention to yourself. Confidence is the quiet assurance that you don't need to prove yourself. It's the energy of, I know what I bring, and I don't need anybody to validate me. That's magnetic. And listen, every man can spot the difference. See, when you're confident, you set the tone. You don't chase a man, you attract one. You don't beg for his attention. He gives it freely. You don't question your place in his life. He respects you enough to make it clear, because he knows if he doesn't, you're not afraid to walk away. And that's the thing. Men respect what they can't play with. Confidence tells a man, you can't play with me. Think about this. When a man is looking at you, before he thinks about if he wants to take you on a date, before he thinks about if he can build a life with you, before he even thinks about what his friends might say about your beauty, he's clocking whether you believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, how's he supposed to believe in you? If you don't see your own value, why should he? Men might not say this out loud, but they feel it instantly. And let me give you a little inside secret. Men love a challenge, not a headache, not drama, but a challenge. And the greatest challenge a confident woman gives a man is the challenge of rising up to meet her standards. A confident woman don't lower her expectations just to keep a man around. She don't settle for less just because she's scared of being alone. She holds her ground. And when a man sees that, it does something to him. It forces him to either level up or move on. But either way, that woman wins because she refuses to lose herself. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Steve, that sounds good. But what if I'm shy? What if I'm naturally quiet? Does that mean I'll never be noticed? Absolutely not. Confidence doesn't mean you gotta be the loudest in the room. It's not about personality type. It's about presence. Even a quiet woman can be confident because her stillness speaks. She doesn't need to overcompensate. She's comfortable in her skin. She doesn't apologize for existing. That's confidence too. Let me tell you a story. I remember one time being at an event, and there was this woman, not the flashiest, not the most glamorous, But she walked with her head high. She smiled with this ease. And when she spoke with conviction. She wasn't looking around to see if people approved. She wasn't shrinking down when others talked. She just was herself. And I kid you not, every man in that room noticed her. Not because she was the most beautiful, but because she carried herself like she knew exactly who she was. Ladies, hear me, beauty is seasonal. Time changes it. But confidence, that grows stronger with age. That's why you need to stop worrying so much about whether your hair looks perfect or your makeup is flawless or your outfit is turning heads. Yes, those things matter, but they're not the first thing a man of value is noticing. He's looking at whether you believe in you. Because if you don't, it won't matter how good you look. It won't hold him. And let me drop one more truth on you. Confidence is not just attractive, it's contagious. When you believe in yourself, you inspire that man to believe in himself more. When you walk with assurance, you challenge him to step up his own game. Men notice that. A woman who lifts the energy in a room just by walking in with confidence, that's unforgettable. So remember this, he might compliment your looks, he might admire your beauty, but before any of that, he's noticing your confidence. He's noticing if you walk like you belong, if you speak like you matter, if you carry yourself like you know you're worth it. That's the foundation. Without it, your looks can only go so far. With it, though, your presence becomes unforgettable. I need you to really lean in on this one, because if there's anything that can outshine beauty, outshine money, outshine even confidence, it's this right here, your attitude. Now listen to me. When a man meets you, he might notice your looks, but what keeps his attention? What makes him lean in closer? What makes him think, I can't stop talking to this woman? Is the energy you carry. Your attitude is everything. It's the atmosphere you bring with you, and men notice it instantly. See, here's the truth. Most women don't get told men crave peace. That's not weakness. That's not avoidance. That's the truth. A man goes out into the world every single day and he's battling. He's fighting at work. He's fighting pressure. He's fighting stress. He's fighting to prove himself, to make a living, to keep it all together. By the time he comes home, by the time he gets around you, the last thing he wants is another fight. He doesn't want to walk into a storm. He wants to walk into peace. And let me tell you something. Your attitude is the temperature of that peace. I've seen women who light up a room just by walking in because their energy is so uplifting. They smile, they laugh, they make people feel at ease. They don't have to put on a show. It's just who they are. And you know what? Every man in that room is drawn to her because men are not just looking for beauty. They're looking for a sanctuary. They're looking for a place where they can exhale. Now on the flip side, you can be the most stunning woman in the world. But if your attitude is negative, if every word out of your mouth is complaint, criticism, or drama, that beauty fades real fast. Men notice that before you even think they do. They notice the tone of your voice, the way you react when something small doesn't go your way, the way you treat people when you're irritated. Those things scream louder than any outfit or makeup ever could. And don't get me wrong, everybody has bad days. Men get it. Life gets stressful. But if your default energy is heavy, if you walk around with a chip on your shoulder, if everything is always a problem, then what you're really telling that man is that being around you is going to drain him. And ladies, no man wants to be drained. He wants to be refilled. Let me break it down with a story. I know a brother who met this woman at a social event. Gorgeous, like she turned heads the moment she walked in. He went up to her, struck up a conversation. But within 10 minutes, he was looking for an exit. Why? Because every single thing she said was negative. She was complaining about the food, complaining about the music, complaining about the people. And he told me later, he said, man, I don't care how fine she was. I felt like I was carrying a bag of rocks just standing there. See, beauty got his attention, but attitude lost it. Now flip the script. I also know another woman who wasn't the most striking one in the room, but she had this glow about her. She complimented people genuinely. She laughed easily. She was grateful for even the little things. And do you know what happened? Men gravitated toward her, not because she was the prettiest, but because her spirit made people feel better just being near her. That's attitude. That's energy. That's what men notice before they even really process your looks. And here's the key. Attitude isn't about being fake happy or pretending everything is perfect. Men can spot fake energy a mile away. What men value is authenticity with optimism. You can be real about your struggles. You can be honest when life isn't going well. But if you carry yourself with hope, with gratitude, with the ability to find light even in dark places, that's what stands out. That's what makes a man think, she's the kind of woman I could build with, because no matter what life throws at us, she's not going to make it worse. She's going to make it lighter. Ladies, let me say it plain, beauty can be intimidating, but attitude makes you approachable. A man might admire you from across the room for how good you look, but it's your attitude that determines if he feels safe enough to step up and talk to you. If you're giving off an energy of, don't bother me, or if you look like you're constantly annoyed, a good man will pass you by. But if your energy says, I'm open, I'm kind, I'm approachable, then he'll take that chance. And listen, I know you've been told, don't be too nice. Don't make it easy for him. I'm not saying give yourself away or lower your standards. What I am saying is you can still hold your ground while having an attitude of kindness and warmth. Strength and softness can live in the same woman. In fact, men love that balance. A woman who's strong in her values but soft in her spirit. That's the dream right there. Now let me hit you with some real truth. Attitude is contagious. If you're constantly negative, the man around you will start to feel negative. If you're constantly suspicious, he'll start to feel like he can't relax. If you're constantly critical, he'll start to feel like he can't win with you. But if you're uplifting, if you show appreciation, if you can laugh together even when things go wrong, he'll start to feel like life with you makes him better, lighter, happier. And ladies, that's what men hold on to. Think about it. When men get together, they don't just talk about how fine a woman is. They talk about how she makes them feel. Man, she's cool to be around. Man, she makes me laugh. Man, I feel at peace when I'm with her. That's attitude. Looks might get you a compliment, but attitude is what gets you a reputation. And men pay attention to that. Now let me be real. Your attitude is a choice. Life will throw you curveballs. People will test your patience. Situations will push your buttons. But at the end of the day, you decide how you respond. You can choose to carry bitterness, or you can choose to carry grace. You can choose to dwell in negativity, or you can choose to find gratitude. And the choice you make will shape not only how men see you, but how everyone sees you. I'll say this one last thing. Men, notice how you handle the little things. If you're rude to the waiter, if you snap at the cashier, if you roll your eyes at someone who makes a mistake, that attitude speaks louder than any words. Because a man is thinking, if that's how she treats them, how's she gonna treat me? On the other hand, if you show patience, kindness, and gratitude, even in small moments, he's thinking, that's the kind of energy I want in my life every day. So remember, your attitude is your fragrance. It's what lingers after you leave the room. And before a man even registers every detail of your looks, he's already picked up on your energy. I need you to hear me loud and clear on this one. Before a man ever gets around to admiring your looks, before he's thinking about whether he can take you out or show you off, he's paying attention to how much you value yourself. And let me tell you, that's not something you can hide. A man can spot it almost instantly. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you let people treat you. It's all evidence of whether you respect yourself or not. See, beauty is attractive, confidence is magnetic, but self-respect, that's the anchor. That's what makes a man decide if he's dealing with somebody he needs to take seriously or somebody he can just play with. And ladies, I don't care how fine you are. If you don't respect yourself, a man won't respect you either. It starts with you. A lot of times women ask me, Steve, why do men treat me like I'm disposable? Why do men think they can come and go as they please? And the answer 9 times out of 10 is because you let them. Somewhere along the line, you lowered your standards, you accepted behavior that went against your values, you made excuses for disrespect. And once a man knows you'll tolerate it, he'll keep doing it. It's not because you're not worthy of respect. It's because you didn't demand it. And demanding respect doesn't mean you have to argue, scream, or fight. Respect is not about volume. It's about boundaries. It's about saying, this is who I am. This is what I deserve, and this is what I will not accept, and then sticking to it, even if it means losing him. Because let me tell you something, a man will test you. He will test to see how serious you are. And if you cave every time, if you fold because you're scared of being alone, then you've already told him he doesn't have to try harder. Ladies, self-respect is not arrogance. It's not about being rude. It's not about acting like you don't need anybody. Self-respect is dignity. It's the quiet strength that says, I know my worth, and I won't let anyone discount it. That's what men notice before your looks. Because if he sees you don't even respect yourself, he knows he can do whatever he wants. But if he sees that you have standards, he knows he has to level up or leave you alone. Let me tell you a story. I once knew a woman who was absolutely gorgeous. She could walk into a room and every head would turn. But here's the thing, she didn't respect herself. She allowed men to treat her any kind of way. She tolerated lies. She tolerated broken promises. She tolerated being someone's option instead of their priority. And do you know what happened? Every man she dealt with treated her like she was replaceable. Not because she wasn't beautiful, but because beauty without self-respect is like a diamond left in the dirt. It gets stepped on. Now let me tell you about another woman. She wasn't the most glamorous, but she carried herself with such dignity. If a man didn't call her back, she didn't chase. If a man played games, she walked away. She wasn't rude, she wasn't bitter. She just had a line she wouldn't let anybody cross. And you know what happened? The men around her either stepped up or stepped out. And the one who did step up valued her like gold, because he knew she valued herself first. Men talk, ladies. Men notice. And they notice whether you set standards for yourself. They notice whether you let them slide on things that matter to you. They notice if you keep forgiving the same disrespect over and over again. And let me be clear, forgiving is one thing, but tolerating repeated disrespect is another. That's not grace. That's self-betrayal. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, and the first teacher in that classroom is you. If you respect yourself, a man learns quickly he has to treat you with respect too. If you don't, he'll take every shortcut he can. And let's be real. Sometimes the fear of being alone makes you drop your standards. You think, if I let this one go, what if nobody else comes along? But listen, being alone is better than being with someone who doesn't respect you. Loneliness is tough, but disrespect is deadly to your soul. It eats away at your confidence, your joy, your peace of mind. And that's why self-respect has to come before any relationship. Now here's another layer. Self-respect shows up in the little things, not just the big ones. It's not just about whether you tolerate cheating or lying. It's about how you let people talk to you. It's about whether you chase someone who's not giving you the same energy. It's about whether you compromise your values just to keep someone around. Men notice all of that. For example, if a man constantly cancels on you last minute and you keep saying, that's okay, I understand, even though it bothers you, you're showing him you'll accept being put last. But if you say, I value my time, and if you can't respect it, I won't make myself available, then you've shown him that you respect yourself. And trust me, a man will either shape up or ship out. And if he ships out, he just saved you time. Ladies, let me give you another perspective. When a man sees that you respect yourself, it makes him respect himself more. A man rises to the level of a woman's standards. If you set the bar high and stand by it, a good man will stretch himself to meet it. But if you set the bar low, he'll never climb higher than that. Men are natural pursuers. They like the chase. They like the challenge. And the greatest challenge you can give a man is the challenge of earning your respect. But here's the catch. Self-respect has to be consistent. You can't demand respect one day and then let it slide the next just because you're lonely or you miss him. Inconsistency tells a man he can wear you down, and once he knows that the game is over, you have to be steady. You have to be willing to walk away, even if it hurts, because that's what tells a man you're serious. And let me tell you, the right man, the man who's worthy of you, will never be scared of your self-respect. He'll admire it. He'll appreciate it, because a man of value doesn't want a woman he can walk all over. He wants a woman who challenges him to be better. He wants a woman who makes him rise to the occasion. That's attractive. That's powerful. That's unforgettable. So yes, your looks might grab his eye. But before he even decides if he's going to pursue you, he's already measuring your self-respect. He's watching how you talk about yourself, how you let others treat you, how you react when someone crosses your boundaries. And that will tell him more about who you are than your beauty ever could. Let me tell you something that men notice quicker than you even realize. It's not your hair, not your shoes, not your figure. It's how you treat other people. That right there tells a man more about who you are than anything you could ever say. And let me be real with you, men are watching. He's not just watching how you treat him when you're trying to impress him. He's watching how you treat people who can't do nothing for you. Because see, anybody can be sweet when they want something. Anybody can put on a smile when they're trying to catch a man. But the real test of character is how you treat people when there's nothing in it for you. If you're rude to the waiter, if you snap at the cashier, if you look down on people just because you think you're above them, trust me, that man is making a mental note. He might not say anything right there, but in his head he's thinking, if that's how she treats them, how's she gonna treat me when the honeymoon stage is over? See, it's easy to be kind when everything's good, but true kindness shows up when nobody's looking, when you don't have to perform. And men notice that before your looks ever really register in their heart. I remember being on a date once where the woman was stunning, looked like she walked straight off a magazine cover. But the way she spoke to the waitress, like the woman didn't matter, like she was beneath her, it turned me off completely. I didn't care how fine she was, because I knew right then that her beauty was only skin deep. And I'm telling you, a lot of men feel the same way. On the flip side, I've seen women who weren't trying to impress anyone, but they lit up the room with kindness. They spoke to everyone with respect. They treated people with dignity. They carried themselves with compassion. And let me tell you, that's the kind of beauty that makes a man look twice. Ladies, here's the truth. How you treat others is a reflection of your heart. Men might notice your looks first, but it's your heart that keeps their attention. A man wants to know if you can bring warmth into his life, if you can show love not just to him, but to the world around you. Because the woman who can love others is the woman who can love deeply. And the woman who can't, well, that's a red flag, no matter how pretty she is. And it's not just about being polite. It's about your spirit. Do you uplift people, or do you tear them down? Do you encourage, or do you criticize? Do you show gratitude for little things, or do you act entitled? Men are watching for that. Because let me tell you, when a man is thinking about a future with you, he's thinking beyond the dates and the good times. He's thinking about what life with you would really feel like. And if your heart is cold, if you lack compassion, then no amount of beauty is going to make up for that. See, a lot of women think men just want a trophy wife, someone they can show off. But let me tell you something real. A good man doesn't just want a trophy. He wants a partner. He wants somebody he can respect. He wants somebody who makes him proud, not just because of how she looks, but because of who she is. And one of the biggest ways a man measures that is by watching how you treat other people. Let me give you an example. Say you're out at dinner and something goes wrong with your order. It happens, right? The food's late, or it's not cooked the way you asked. In that moment, a man is watching you. Are you patient, or do you lose your cool? Do you speak with respect, or do you snap like the world revolves around you? That one moment tells him more about your character than hours of conversation, because he's thinking, if she can't handle something small with grace, how's she gonna handle life's bigger problems? Kindness isn't weakness. Don't let anybody fool you. Kindness is strength. It takes strength to stay patient when you're frustrated. It takes strength to show grace when someone makes a mistake. It takes strength to uplift others when you could just as easily tear them down. And men respect that strength. They admire it. They value it. Now let me talk about something deeper. Men notice how you treat the people closest to you, your family, your friends, your coworkers. If you gossip about them behind their back, if you constantly criticize them, if you hold grudges and refuse to forgive, a man will notice. Because he knows eventually that same behavior is going to come his way. But if he sees you showing love, patience, and respect to the people in your circle, he knows you're capable of building a healthy relationship. And here's the part that's really powerful. Kindness is memorable. Looks fade from memory, but the way someone makes you feel sticks forever. A man might forget what dress you were wearing or how your hair was styled, but he'll never forget if you made him feel respected, valued, and appreciated. That's the stuff that imprints on a man's heart. You want to know what separates a woman from the crowd? It's not just her beauty. It's the combination of beauty and grace, strength and kindness, confidence and compassion. That's what makes a man sit back and say, that woman is different. And I promise you, men are more tuned into that than you think. I remember talking to a group of guys one time, and we were swapping stories about women we'd met. And do you know what kept coming up? Not she was so fine, or she was so bad. What came up over and over was, man, she had a good heart. Man, she made me feel like I mattered. Man, she treated people so well. That's what stuck with them. Because in the end, beauty might start the conversation, but kindness is what writes the story. Ladies, I want you to understand this. How you treat others is how a man envisions you treating him in the long run. He knows the butterflies won't last forever. The newness will fade, but your heart, that's what's gonna carry the relationship. If he sees kindness, if he sees grace, if he sees love, then he knows he's found something real. But if he sees cruelty, disrespect, or entitlement, then he knows no amount of physical attraction can make up for that. So yes, he noticed your looks, but he noticed your kindness first. He noticed your spirit first. He noticed your heart before anything else. And that's what's going to make the difference between a man who admires you for a moment and a man who commits to you for life.